Hello and welcome to this review of Flames of War version 4 D-Day German Forces Handbook that covers Normandy in 1944. On the front you've got a pair of Tiger 1s, look really awesome. On the back tells you a little bit about Normandy and what is it that you're going to find. So let's check it out. As usual for Battlefront standards, they'll give you an overarching map talking about where the action is taking place. And I would like to point out that originally they were thinking about landing here. Many of the Germans thought that the Allies were going to land here because it is the closest distance-wise. But the Allies said, nah, we need to find another place. And it turned out Normandy was actually their second choice. And they had a better chance of going there. Well, guess what history showed us? Of course, as typical, Battlefront gets the wartime footage, gives you a nice index here, and it tells you a little bit about the German side of the D-Day landings, talks about the special rules. Okay, some of those, if you are familiar with the game to begin with, like Stormtrooper, Bazooka Skirts. I like the term Scherzen because that's really what the Germans called it. Heat Salvo, which is a new thing here. They took that from Team Yankee, which it is a 10-inch by 10-inch square as opposed to a regular 6-inch by 6-inch square for artillery. They use this for rockets. Okay, flamethrower mounted assault, Panzerfaust, unit transport, and that gives you a bit of Operation Overlord with a little bit of a graphic as to where things were going, what beaches that there were, and which groups were landing there. And again, it got into more detail about the airborne invasion, what was going on with the different beaches, and then of course know your panzers, which of course pretty much for many people, they're familiar. The Panzer IV, the Panther, the Tiger, and the Stug, and then of course the Jagdpanzer IV. And then it talks about the infantry, where we have the Fallschirmjäger Company, we have the Armored Panzer Grenadier Company, the Panzer Grenadier Company, and then the Reconnaissance Company. And then they give you their motivation and their skills, capabilities, which is really, really good. Okay, so then here it gives you the overall D-Day German force. So you can choose from the beach defenders of the Grenadier Company, the Fallschirmjäger formations, whether it is the Stug assault gun or the regular Fallschirmjäger Company, Panzer formations of Tiger, Panther, Panzer IV, Armored Panzer Grenadier, and Reconnaissance. And then the boxes that you see in the gray are the support units. That, you could take any of those within a certain number. So it talks a little bit about the 352nd Infantry Division, where they were on Omaha Beach. It shows you a nice little map there of their emplacements and what fortifications were there on what part of the beach on that day. They also do the same thing for the 716th Infantry Division, so you definitely get your historical flavor. Your beach defense grenadiers, okay, you have those, and then it goes through and it shows you the cards, gives you the information. It also talks about the D-Day Beach Assault Mission and Terrain Pack. That might be something very beneficial for some people, because not everybody would necessarily have landing craft or pillboxes or things like that, and that would be really cool to go and get that. So again, you get to see the different weapons and the different platoons that they can have there. And then you look at the 3rd Fallschirmjäger, and it talks about their participation in the Normandy fight. Gives you a map, talks a little bit about the battle for Saint-Lô, and then the 6th Fallschirmjäger Regiment, which is really cool because if you wanted to go and redo any particular battles, like historical scenarios, there's a plethora of information out there. So this is the Fallschirmjäger Company. And again, you get to see the units, the point values, things like that. Although I personally recommend unit cards. They're very handy to have with you as opposed to flipping back and forth through the book. And they also have the special rules on the back of the cards with their point cost, so you can take advantage of that. Stug Assault Company, this is from the Fallschirmjägers. And then talk about the overall Normandy campaign, the beaches here, and by what day that these units were there, cutting off the peninsula and then working over to take over Cherbourg, which was a very much needed port for the Allies to get their supplies going through. Still talking more about Normandy. They talk a little bit about what was happening in the bocage, otherwise that's the formal name. You could think about hedgerows, but they were kind of nasty things. They talk about, in the Normandy campaign, the Mortain offensive, and then the Falaise Pocket, which was kind of like a Stalingrad of the West for the Germans, in a sense. They have the 503rd Heavy Tank Battalion. Then they talk about the Tiger Tank Company, which at long last, now you got a Tiger Tank Company, but these guys, they are not exactly the rulers, the undisputed rulers of the battlefield they once were. The Panzerlehr Division, okay, and it shows you the organization, where they were, their history. The Panther Tank Company, again, you really can't go wrong with getting any of these particular panzer companies. Okay, and we talk about the Panzer Grenadiers. Okay, this is from the Panzerlehr Division. And then you have the Armored Panzer Grenadiers, which essentially they were in the half-tracks. So they had a little bit more mobility. There just simply weren't enough half-tracks out there to go and kit every Panzer Grenadier out there for it. I do wonder, though, as you don't see the regular Grenadier in this book. You have the Beach Defense Grenadiers, so maybe the Panzer Grenadiers are the next best thing. If anybody knows why they did not include the regular Grenadier formation in this book, please feel free to drop me a note. I would love to know. Okay, I'm sure that there's a reason. Armored Reconnaissance Company, again from the Panzerlehr. So then you can see the different kinds of armored cars. And again, color photos of Battlefront's miniatures, support units, the Wesp, the Hummel. Those are self-propelled artillery pieces. The 105, the 105 millimeter artillery. Your Nebelwerfers. I think rocket launchers. Your Panzer III observation post. And then this gives you an example of what a D-Day German force would look like. They talk about the starter kit that you can get if you wish. And then it shows you how to paint the colors for the Fallschirmjäger. Okay, and then vehicles, the paints. I believe the numbers match Vallejo. I may be wrong on that. Then it gives you, how to base your figures, which is kind of important. It tells you about what the French countryside terrain would look like. Okay. And it also talks a little bit about the D-Day battle. So you can have like a linked campaign. So it's not just, one-off games. You can actually start with Armored Fury and then work on the outflanked and then so forth. And they do give you the scenarios, so that's really worthwhile to go and get those, to get the books for it if you are interested in D-Day fighting. And then here they sell you the markers or the dice as you need them. They also sell the decals, and then the different German armored units. German infantry units. Okay. And of course they're all plastic, which does make it lighter in weight, so it's a little bit easier to carry around. There are some nice advantages to these. Now these guys, I believe they're done in resin. Okay, and then this shows you the final end, Europe in December of 1944. So that would mean this is after Operation Market Garden, which occurred in September of 1944. Okay, so now you have an idea what the German Forces books looks like. I hope this really benefited you guys. And, well, happy gaming. Form your German forces. Defend the beaches. Okay, I'm signing off. You take care, God bless you, and have a good day. Oh, click and subscribe. That's awesome.